Hello, hello. Are we live
We
already?
are live. It works.
Bam. Good.
Good morning
How are you? Good morning.
to our
Hey
people
there.
on the West Coast. Good afternoon for all the folks that are not in the West Coast, like our guest Felix and even our friends in Italy. How are you guys doing? How are you doing, Felix?
I'm doing well. How's everyone doing?
Doing pretty good. Pretty Saturday. So that's the first time that we try this on Saturday. I'm very excited. I love to that we got to play with the days of the week, so we can say which one is the one that works best. How's your weekend started, Raffaele?
Not bad at all, because yesterday I saw a pretty huge announcement from a platform called ADPList. I don't know if you know that, Fede. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I don't, but I think we can ask this guy here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's the right one to ask. We are so excited to having Felix here. Felix, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Fede and Rafael, for having me on this Saturday morning. I'm super excited. My name is Felix, and I'm currently based in Singapore. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO at ADPList. And my day-to-day role involves community engaging with people like both of you, which I'm super excited about, and the community as well. And as well as like building a platform where allows all of the designers, creatives, and even product manager today to connect with a mentor and to upskill themselves and to learn even more from the industry experts. So I'm super excited to be here today to share more about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very well.
Like from these big milestones that you have achieved, guys. It's great now to having you here, Felix. May I ask you a quick recap of what you discussed yesterday, because that was something special yesterday, right?
Yes, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's start off the call with a little bit of big bang, right? 2 days ago, this week, earlier this week, we announced that ADPList has raised our pre-seed funding led by Sequoia. And we're super excited. We're very excited to raise $1.3 million in pre-seed funding to continue to help improve the platform experience, the value, and as well as to make mentoring really even more accessible than we had before. So we are super excited to continue running even bigger and faster with our community with this new fresh funding that could help operate a lot of more things. And we are really thankful and excited.
Awesome.
There's a lot of things that you can do with $1.3 million. It's a pretty good amount of money. So yes, I guess you guys are super excited. I am super excited. Super excited about the platform, everything, the past, the present, the future. That's what we want to discuss today, a little bit about each one of those. So yes, this milestone has been it's been fantastic. So yeah, I know there have been some celebrations, some live audio, some talks on Twitter. How is the excitement going? Actually, let's do this. Why don't you give us a couple of numbers of amazing design people like list, and you tell a little bit like how much you guys achieved, because we know about the $1.3 million. We got it loud and clear. But what is the status of the platform today? How's mentoring going?
Yeah, I'll share with you some statistics. It's quite interesting. Just in the 6 months alone, we officially we founded ADPList last year in May, April period, and ever since then it's been about close to over a year right now, 16 months. But we officially launched a new website where people could log in and sign up only since January. And over the last 8 months alone, we have seen every single month, and just in July alone, we have seen close to 4,000 over calls and mentoring sessions just only in July. And that's really powerful. In just July alone, we have clocked over 180,000 minutes in July of calls and sessions happening on ADP itself. And could you imagine how many of those conversations are happening around the world? And I could tell you now, 90% of those 180,000 minutes happen cross-borderly. It means that the calls does not happen in their own city, does not happen in their own country. And one of the things that is really very powerful about that statistics is that a lot of people are actually learning beyond their own country, beyond their own village, beyond their own city. And that's something that we're incredibly proud of, because our mission is to help democratize mentorship. And one of the ways that we have always thought about democratization is that people are able to learn beyond their own city, beyond their own network. I could learn from someone like from both of you, from a totally different place, and we're super excited about that. Just today in August, we have crossed over 2,800 mentors on the platform. Which obviously we vetted through a lot of mentors. We're really excited to welcome a lot of more new mentors. And we continue to do a lot more bookings and sessions throughout the entire month as well. Which I'm really excited about. And so one of the things that we constantly keep track of is the number of minutes that people kind of spend on this course, which I then tell you in July is over 180,000 minutes, which is really, really a lot. So
wow.
That equates to close to 4,000 bookings. Yeah. So we are really excited for all those possibilities.
What I found interesting from the data that you have shared, Felix, is the quality of the time, not just minutes, not just it's the relationship across the number of pairings between mentors and mentees and the quality of this time. Because at least from my experience, and Fede can share his, it's more on the quality in a way that in 30 minutes you can achieve very a lot of useful resource insights from a person, as you said, from completely outside your continent, in another with other backgrounds and with other capabilities. So that it's mind-blowing, my idea, and it's a great objective to point out as in just 3 quarters that you have reached this status. What are your thoughts on that, Fede?
My thought is that the quality of the mentors on ADPList, of course, is very high, and that's a great job by Felix in working on that, like sort of intake of all the people that want to be mentors, and they go through an assessment, right? It's not that you can apply and then you automatically get included. So there's definitely a little bit of a selection for entrance that I think is a good thing, and the reason is, well, the mentors are one of the value prop of the platform, of the community. So if the mentors are not good, eventually people are not staying, right? So this is awesome. But at the same time, there are 2 things that I love. Is like, one is the fact that you have a lot of choice, as Felix said. Like, you can go and basically pick every company that you know, or even the one that you don't know, and find a mentor. You can find an area. You can find someone that speaks your language. You can find literally, like, there's so much diversity in there that you can literally find the best mentor that works for you. Whether it's like time zone, whether it's like someone that works as a startup, whether it's someone that works in a big company. Literally, you can just go in and even try. And that's fantastic. And it's for free. And I think that's important to remember as well. And the other thing is, when you go in there, it's very organic. Everyone is super humble. That's something that goes beyond the quality, that I think speaks to the value of the platform. Like, every mentee, every other mentors that I've talked to, there is no, ego or anything like that, right? Nobody does it because it's a kind of like a ego stuff. It's more because we really care about the people and we really want people to grow. And that, to me, is the essence, if you want, right, of mentorship. Like, if you don't know it like from your heart, it's never gonna work. So even the kind
sharing back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't know, Felix. That was also my story, right? If we want to talk a little bit about like the past, like when I started, and I've done this like Felix a couple of times. I don't even remember exactly when and how I heard about ADPList. I know that I wanted to get involved more into mentoring, and I said, "Oh, let me give it a try. Let's see if I can do this like digitally, even if I like it, because it's different from when you do coaching like in your own company. It's very different." And I found out this one from someone that I remember I valued as a friend, as a colleague, whose name I'm not going to mention, and I said, okay, let me give it a try. And the moment I landed on the platform, that it was still, it was not at the very beginning, it was still growing. I was really humbled by like most of it. Like, as I said, the level of friendliness that was there, right? That to me is the great value. It's and that's why I decided to stay. I said, okay, I believe in this project. I want to be part of it, and here we are.
Yeah,
here we are.
And I just want to share a quick story to that. Ferdy mentioned something really important, which is the human connection. And one of the things that I still continue to do today, is to reach out to every single new mentor who join us and say, welcome. If you have any questions, I'm always here for you. And really, that goes a long way, especially with Ferdy, right, when he first joined. And in fact, today, Ferdy is one of our top-rated mentors and one of the, very, very appreciated mentors as well. And Ferdy today even sits on our mentor advisory board at ADPList, where he shares about his experience and whatnot with us, the co-founders, directly. And I really appreciate that. And to be honest, Ferdy has played a huge part in this funding round. If in case anyone is hearing this, does not know about it, Ferdy was actually part of the this process of this funding. We were keeping it a secret, right, Ferdy? And and then Ferdy,
He's a great one.
Exactly. And so,
I can share from my backyard that he's a great one. Yeah.
Exactly. So Ferdy was part of the process. It was really exciting. So thank you so much, Ferdy. And obviously, it's a really it's a community that has a human at its heart, not a designer, but a human first before anything else. And I really love that.
I have a question for both of you guys, and then maybe if you want, I can answer that. What is the best and memorable experience that you can share? But like the first that pop into your mind from ADPList.
Sure. Should I go?
Be everything. Yes, go first.
Okay,
Felix, please.
So, one of the things that was really memorable is actually something that happened around about 1 month or 2 months ago, where I actually had my usual weekend morning mentoring call with one of the mentees on ADPList. Now, this is what happened, right? So I had a call with him. His internet was very unstable for whatever reason. And I found out that he was from Nepal, right? Now, from the place that he was in Nepal, he was from a small village, not much access to education, no access to very good internet. And, for me, obviously, when you see someone with the internet so choppy, you might think like, oh, maybe this guy's not prepared or something. But the situation was very different, He was prepared, but the internet was just not there for him. The access to the good internet is not there for him, but he was so ready to learn because he came with a lot of great questions. And throughout the meeting, we had some great conversations. And one of the things that really hit me hard was that, he told me this. He said, look, Felix, from where I come from in Nepal, we don't have great access to internet. We don't have great access to educational resources. And ADPList has been one of the ways that I've been learning outside of my country and outside of my city to gain new knowledge, right? To gain new experience. Because look, he does not even have that much money to travel to learn as well. And so he said, ADPList has given me a window to the other side of the world so that I can learn. And that struck me really deeply because look, today people think that when I mentor on ADPList, I'm mentoring someone else, right? I'm mentoring one person. But when we mentor someone like this boy here, you're not just mentoring him. In fact, he goes on to tell the knowledge to his friends in his village. And his village goes on to tell to someone else and someone else and someone else. And eventually you end up mentoring the country. I always call that. And, what I realized that was really powerful, the moment of realization was that when you mentor someone, you completely change their life. But you don't just change their lives. You change the people around them. You change a village. You change a local community. You change a city. And I think those are like the ripple effect that your mentor is good. So that is my story. I find it really inspiring, and I thought I really share it. Yeah, but Ferdy, go for it.
That's awesome. And another funny part is that as you were closing it, I think your internet lagged for 1 second, so it was like real life. Fantastic.
It was on spot.
How timely. Well, and I was thinking, to me, one of the mentors that I had, and her name is Lina Zhao. She was one of the very first mentors that I got the opportunity to know, and I want to tell a story because it was also featured by builtin.com. If you guys want to read then the full experience, we can drop the article in here in the comments. But it was very eye-opening to me because this person connected with me. It was a fantastic, super talented woman, and I could feel like she was asking me should I go back to school and finish? Should I actually go for like an internship or something. And I'm looking at her portfolio, I'm looking at the stuff that like she proposed to me, like the what she created, and I'm like, no, you need to find a full-time job. You don't need to go for an internship. Like I've seen people applying for big company with a portfolio that is way worse than yours in terms of quality. It just you need to understand that. Like I mean, if you want to finish school, because yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's your choice. Totally do it. But don't think like you cannot apply for a full-time job. Just realize that, like the potential that she had, just because she like a lot of people out there, they just live in their bubble, and there is no opportunity for them to do a benchmarking. Sometimes those people tend to under-evaluate themselves, right? And they just think, oh, I'm not good enough, or I need to start small. It's a great value. I totally think it's great, rather than think you're the best of the world and then fail, right? They're both like attitude that can work, but ideally be humble it's a great plus. But that was too much. So basically, the only work that we did together was, realizing that she had great quality, that she just have to, dust off a little bit of the rust and just go for it. And she blossomed. Like she was able to get like a few months already, get like an offer from IBM, and now is moving to one of the biggest bank in Canada, because she lives in Canada, and that was like literally in 8 months. So what I'm about to say, and the reason why we also wanted Felix here, is that this is something I hadn't had the opportunity to have when I was studying, right? And despite the fact that I'm a telecommunication engineer, like mentoring is incredibly helpful. Not only because you can train, you can get like your portfolio watch. It doesn't even matter what kind of work you do. Every time you can democratize mentorship, and you have someone that is more senior that can take a look at your history, who you are, what you're creating, what are your limits and your challenge. These are all things that we cannot see from the inside. Self-awareness is huge. Like Rafa, how many times we say in our podcast, self-awareness is huge. Understanding your bias, understanding your weak spot, totally. But having a mentor freaking helps scale it. Because you have someone that looks at you and says, okay, this actually works. This one is an area that you didn't even consider. And that, to me, it's also the essence of design. Because that's design, right? Design is working in the white space. It's not just going for incremental improvement, but being able to see what is the distance to the top, or imagining if there is even a ceiling, and then you go for it, and you get better and better, playing in the white space. That's what a mentor does. Enables the white space for everyone.
The zoom out perspective that helps you a lot.
Perspective.
Yeah, totally agree on that. Mine, I have like two very quick stories. The first one, it's with Emanuele Pagani, which is a lead designer at Uber that I connected through ADPList. By the way, me and Fede connected through LinkedIn, but that's another story for other time. He is still a great one. Emanuele, he helped me a lot, and I still remember this quote that he gave to me, that a good coach would always know what you needed to do, but he would just tell you enough information to do that and no more. So just giving you the light or the route, understanding your problem, and then inspiring you to move in unlocking your own way of thinking what is best for you. That it's like a treasure. And the second one it was from yesterday with Tianran, that I met yesterday for his first session on ADPList. And he just told to me, Rafael, I love that conversation too much, but you in a way mentoring me as I should have supposed to do the same way around. And I was like, this is a sharing. It's not a headlines kind of call, right? So we're on the same boat. We're always learning and growing from each other.
It's two ways, yeah.
Always.
Yeah, it's two ways. So it's always when you kind of mentor someone, you learn as well as a person, right? Like you get some self-awareness, like, and I feel like that is the power of mentoring. Every single day I walk into like one of the mentoring calls, like on a weekend itself, I learned a lot more about myself, and I think like sometimes when I look at a portfolio, I'm like, this person's portfolio is even better than mine. They don't need to improve their portfolio. Sometimes it's just about you just guiding them and showing them who they are. I think like what Freddy said, like self-awareness is you, right? And it's number one. And so I think that's where we're driving it. Yeah, I agree with that.
We talk a lot about the great values that inspired ADPList from the past to the present now with this big funding. But I'm super curious to ask Felix about, and that's something FedEx coming from our first season in a way, that would in terms of quality, in terms of skills right now, since we talk about awareness and portfolio reviews, would superpower a modern designer you imagine should have right now? That can achieve through mentoring, of course, and can go further.
Yeah, for sure. So what can people achieve through mentoring? Is that what you're asking?
More on the practical skills that through mentoring could help a designer to be very dangerous and successful nowadays, because we know that in the industry, right now we have a lot of expertise in design. So I'm curious to hear more your perspective as a mentor to what are the common patterns that you have discovered in this sense.
For sure. You know, when you mentor someone, obviously there's so many things that you can mentor, like from portfolio and whatnot. But I think one of the most important things is the process, right? That a mentor can share with you and where you can learn from a lot of mentors. And one of the things is that I always say, go and meet a lot more mentors, because, you know, there's this Harvard business case study. I'll send it to to the link if there's any after this call. But you know, one of the Harvard case study actually says that, you know, you need to have more than one mentor, because there is no one person who has all the answers in the world, right? Like we don't go to someone with all the answers. And I think one of the common misconception is that, you know, I have to only go to like Teddy or Raphael, one person, to kind of like get an answer. The notion of having many mentors at once needs to be normalized, right? Because there's no one person with a solid answer, and everyone has a very different perspective on something, and everyone has a very different experience. And when you meet more people, you sort of, you know, have a feeling of, okay, what would work for you, and you can try it out, right? And I think one of the most important things that I always personally technically learn from a mentor is the process, right? How do someone actually think about like design? How do they actually think about, you know, crafting an efficient product process, right? Like a product design process. And how can I learn from them? You know, what are some of the different, like, what are some of the challenges that you have faced? You know, I think, you know, anyone listen, here tonight, this morning, listening to this call, I think one of the most important things that you can ask your mentors is, what are some of the challenges that he or she faced during that design process, or, you know, like in their career or whatnot, whatever question that you're asking. Because, you know, by understanding the challenges that someone goes through, you actually learn a lot more, right? And so I think that's something that I personally would, you know, sort of like, I would say, ask a lot. And I think that I learn a lot from different mentors as well.
Diversity. Yeah, that's where the richness is. The more diverse people that you get, the best perception you get. I mean, even from my experience, it works on the other way around, right? I mean, I had probably 80-90% of the people that I've mentored. And again, we, you know, Felix, we do a new spin-off that it's all about like being an allyship with Natasha Chandra from Electronic Arts. We just started last Monday, and so we talk a lot about diversity and inclusion as a team. And she actually counts the number of mentee that she has. That is more than 130, whatever. And I was like, oh, I'm just one shy of you. So no, I don't count. I forgot. I've never done it. But I would say that roughly 90% of the people that I mentored are probably people that I met once. And then there are a few of them that I mentor a few times. Now, I think this is also important to discuss, like in this environment here. There's no recipe for like whether you need to have like one session with a mentor or 5 or 10. To me, mentorship and also hiring, at networking, whatever you call it, is like dating, right? It's all about connecting people. So some connection becomes stronger right from the very get-go, at the very beginning. Some of them, they just don't, right? And there is nothing wrong about it. And the point is, some people just love to do, like Felix was saying, you are supposed to be a bee and take the best out of mentorship. So you go and get one flower, and that's until you find the one that you like, or maybe you just like going around. So nobody as a mentor will get offended if you only schedule one call with us. We do understand that, and on our side is the same. Sometimes with some people it just sparks something different, and naturally some of those people become like close mentor. That's how it works.
How you deal with expectations, guys?
Well, I think, expectations has always been set very clearly on the get-go. Is that I think, expectations have to be set by yourself sometimes. I think it's hard for the mentor or mentee either ways to set expectations for the other person, because look, like, if it's the first time, obviously you don't know what to expect, right? But it's the second or third time, then fine. But I think for the first time, I usually try to not set any expectations. I think because on ADP, you can actually set your own questions for the mentees before they join the call. And so you already know what are their questions before they join, and you can accept or decline it. And so for me, there is already a certain level of expectations when they come in, right? They are like, oh, how do I get my job interview, or how do I improve my process? Like many different sort of questions. So I don't think that there's like one single expectations, right? And so that's personally for me. But I've been curious to hear what Feli might have in mind as well.
I
know it's pretty generic, the question. Sorry.
No. It's I think it's a pretty good question. I have been trying, and again, even for me, mentoring was a process and trying how to get the best out of those mostly 30 minutes. So there are two things. The first one is I've been using those questions quite a lot in order to understand what those people want, and that's for me to craft and personalize the time together, right? If you want to get any ideas about your portfolio, if you want to know about like getting hired by a big company, whatever that is, right? You want to know about service design, you want to know what it feels like to work for employee experience rather than customer experience. That these are all themes that we can chat about, right? So for me, getting this information, we get the most out of those 30 minutes. So again, best use of our time and value exchange, as we always say, like Raffaele. But the other part that I want to mention is most of the time I realize that there is a subset of advice that they mostly stay the same. It doesn't matter what kind of question people are coming in with, but they always stay the same. So what I started doing, that is probably, I think is the feature, to be honest, that I've loved the most since ADP, my adventure with ADPList started, is the group mentoring session. And and again, I'm guilty because I only done a couple, but you can cover like from 50 to 200 people. The point is, in those sessions, you can just go and focus on a topic and say, okay, now you all listen to this. Like, this is, to me, is the entry point. Like, I know that you all have this question, right? So before I'm gonna say waste, right, any time, why don't we go over this topic all together? And also the conversation is gonna stay somewhere, right? Because you can even record if you want. And now what my goal is that starting from my next group session that I hope is gonna be next week. So spoiler alert, but like it's not scheduled yet. But the idea is, now, and thanks to the feedback of the people that have been doing the first two sessions, I'm gonna have a session like that. There is a deck that we already shared that's gonna guide the session, so you can have like a sneak peek into what it is, and it's also some takeaway that you can get after the call, and it's something that I'm gonna record. So every time someone wants to have a chat with me, I would just say, okay, why don't you start by looking at this video, and then there's a lot of stuff that you already probably. A lot of information that you can learn. So that to me is also part of like getting the most out of mentorship.
Yep, 100%.
This is for free, just with your internet connection. Just to recap, like, I mean, just I don't know. This is like a question mark in a cloud. Like, let's say like this. Yeah, it's incredible, Felix. Enough words for me. I would just yeah.
I told Felix that if I were to get paid, I probably wouldn't have stayed or joined the platform. And I mean, I'm not saying that people shouldn't get paid to mentor. Everyone can value their time as they want. It's not my personal mission, right? It's not the reason why I joined. And I mean, to be honest, I love that still the access of everyone in IDPList is completely free.
Yeah, 100%. I love that as well. I love that as well.
I have just my last question for you, Felix, which is a quick and short and sweet one.
Go for it. I'm ready.
Where you see yourself in 1 year from now, since you have done this in like less than a year. So
right.
I give you not 8 months, I give you 1 year of time.
Go
where
for it.
You see.
Sure. Can I say about myself and ADPList? So like, you know,
both. Of course. Yes,
sure.
Please.
I think, you know, I'll start off by saying like, you know, throughout the past year, I've really grown a lot as a leader, as a friend, as a brother, son, and you know, hopefully as a team member as well. You know, I'm super grateful as a mentor. Yeah, I have grown really a lot from, you know, just meeting so many people. You know, in the next 1 year, you know, I personally see myself growing a lot more as a mentor, a mentee, but not least a leader. You know, today we have a team of about 10 full-time people. We have a lot of volunteers, up to like 30 volunteers today. So the total size of the team is about 40 today. And you know, it is my first time, like just like everyone, you know, it is my first time running such a big operation, if you will. And have I done this before? No, but I continue to seek the mentorship every single day and understand like, how do I do certain things? And for me, I see myself growing a lot as a leader and understanding the operations and being a lot more empathetic to people, you know. And one of the things that I've learned so far as a leader is that, you know, lead with 3 things. So 4 things, right? Lead with dignity, lead with respect, with empathy, and with gratitude, right? These are the 4 things that I always keep to my heart as a leader, right? Dignity, respect, empathy, and gratitude. You know, because those 4 core values keep me in check every single time as a leader. And I hope that in 1 year time, I can continue to grow even stronger in that aspect, right? And, you know, that is for me personally. And I'll talk a little bit about ADPList, right? You know, since we announced our funding of $1.3 million in pre-seed round, you know, there has been a lot of celebration by the community, which I want to thank everyone watching this. And if you're watching this, I want to say I love you. I thank you. And you know, obviously everyone's celebrating because they're not celebrating me. They're not celebrating James, Federico. They are not celebrating, you know, any one of us here. What they're celebrating today is the fact that we are one step forward towards, you know, democratizing mentorship. And, you know, I've always told myself that the road towards democracy, just like any countries, you know, or any cities that today has achieved democracy, the road towards democracy is not an easy road. You know, it is a journey ventured by people who are willing to believe that access should be for everyone. And I think that in 1 year time, you know, and often than not, you know, the past 1 year, you know, we have grown about 16 months, but a year after we start ADPList, I've often thought about how could an idea like strangers sharing knowledge and mentoring one another remotely even work? But the truth is this, you know, us as ADPList, as a small company, as a small organization, we did not do most of this. Our mentors, right? People like Freddy, like Michael, like Natasha, right? And the broader ADPList community, they created most of this. And they have taught me 2 things. That people are fundamentally good and that we are all around the world 99% the same. And, you know, back to the point, today, close to 90% of our bookings on ADPList are cross-border, you know, international. And we imagine a world where a college kid in India, in Africa, you know, can get access to speak to a mentor who is based in Silicon Valley, like Freddy, right at home, you know, without feeling like, you know, I have to pay a lot of money, or without feeling like, oh, you know, my dad is someone or my mom is someone. You don't have to have all that. You can still learn. And I think when we all share that knowledge, I think the world is a better place, right? And I believe that 1 year from now, ADPList will be an educational city, you know, I call it the educational city where people come here to upskill themselves by learning from mentors and experts, right? And that is the magical world of ADPList. right? And one of the things is that we want to keep all of this free. We want to keep all of this accessible to people as well. You know, whatever that is happening right now on the platform will remain free for people, and we want to make sure that, you know, this is accessible to people regardless of who you are, where you come from, or how much you can pay. You know, because democracy, you know, should not care about your skin color, where you're from, or how much you can pay. And I truly, truly believe in that. So yeah, that will remain, you know, the core focus in the next 1 year as well.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. Let's wrap it up with this. I have nothing to add to that.
I guess the recent announcement in the war, Afghanistan showed us, and I want to get into politics, but how democracy and it's important and everything else. Like you can see that, yeah, there's a long way to do it, like in so many parts. So wherever we can make an impact, I always say, we're saying that with Natasha as well. I mean, we're all about the action. So, I mean, talk is cheap, right? Doing stuff is so much better. So that's it.
We can't buy our time. And the way you are spending your time, Felix, it's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you for starting it. Thank you for being a mentor, a leader, and everything. A visionary, whatever you want to call yourself.
Enabling mentors. That's the thing.
You both. So
awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciate it for allowing me to share my voice today, and obviously, you know, for being a part of the bigger community. I think I'm really appreciative. So thank you both.
I have to add one thing, and then we can wrap it up. I love that we did this live because this is not staged. Everything that came out is like literally it's like a couple of questions that we share with each other, and there is nothing that is being prepped. So this is literally 100% organic, and it's the part that I love the most, and one of the reasons why we wanted to do live with our guest, because you can feel 100% real, like how it works. So I hope you enjoyed it. We're gonna do more like this. Felix, thank you so much. Keep working out, keep grinding, and have a great, fantastic weekend. If it's still the weekend and you're live, or just enjoy the video. And yeah, ADPList.com.
All right.
See you there, guys.
See you all.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Take care.
Bye.